All right, special delivery for Reese Miller. This is 5, C, and D. So on B, you found out that the slope was 3/4. So slope of the line is 3/4. Need to know that. They want this new line to be perpendicular. And in order for two lines to be perpendicular, they have to have opposite reciprocal slopes. Opposite means change the sign. Reciprocal means flip it upside down. So the slope you got in B was positive 3/4. So our opposite reciprocal is negative 4/3. Okay, so negative 4/3 is what we're going to be using for this problem. Okay, so for M, because M stands for slope, we're going to use negative 4/3. And then they give us a point. Remember, every point is an x value and a y value on that line. So for x, we're going to plug in 2. And for y, we're going to plug in 3. Okay, so over here, for y equals mx plus b, we're going to plug in 3. Our goal here is to find the y-intercept, which is b. Okay, so in this case, we just solve for b. So if I multiply these together, I would get negative 8/3. And then to get b by itself, that's a negative 8/3. So I would just need to add 8/3 to the left side. So then b, you can put that in your calculator. 3 plus 8/3 is 17/3. Okay, you need two things to write the equation of a line. The slope, which we knew from the beginning, from the opposite reciprocal, and the y-intercept. Okay, once you know those two things, you write y equals, the slope is negative 4/3, x plus b, and we just found out b is 17/3. Sorry, 17/3. That's not 17 over 13. 17/3. Okay, so this is the equation of that line. Now D is a lot of words, but really it's super easy. They're telling you to take the equation that you just came up with and plug in 1 for x. That's literally all they're asking you to do here. Okay, so if you go y equals and then negative 4/3, they're telling us x is 1. So for this x up here, I plug in 1 plus 17/3. What is y? That's literally all this is asking you. So plug in 1 into the equation you just got, and we get 13/3. You can put that in your calculator, or that's about 4.3 repeating. Okay, so therefore, that's the y value of this point. So 1 comma about 4.3. Okay, so if you plot that point 1 4.3 over 1 up 4.3, that is point B. Okay, and you should have already plotted point A and that's point B. A and C were given from the beginning. So A was negative 2, 0, and C was 2, 3. You can see that that makes a little triangle that has a right angle in it. You can see that looks like a right angle right there. And I know it's a right angle because we made perpendicular lines. Remember, perpendicular means that they form a right angle. So that's what we did in that first example I showed you today. Because this line's perpendicular to this line, that creates the right angle. Okay, and that's your final answer for number 5. Okay, and then the other question I believe you wanted me to do was number 13. Okay, so this is actually pretty easy. This notation, f of 3, that just means plug in 3 for all of the x's. Okay, and they're telling you when you do that, you should get an answer of 146. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this part of the equation and I'm going to plug in 3 for all of the x's. 3 squared plus k times 3, or 3k, minus 4. And they're telling you when you do that, when you plug in 3 for all the x's, you should get 146. So that allows us, now that we know what x is and now that we know what the answer is, that allows us to solve for k. Okay. Now be careful when you do this, you need to do order of operations, which means exponents first. So you cannot multiply 7 times 3 and then cube it. Remember, parentheses and exponents first. So 3 cubed is 27 minus 6, and then 3 squared is 9. So you got to kind of take this slowly with order of operations. Okay. And then we get 189. 7 times 27 here is 189 minus 54 plus 3k minus 4. And then we can just combine our like terms over here. So 189 minus 54 minus 4 gives us 131 plus 3k on the left equals 146. Okay, then you subtract the 131 over. That gives us 3k equals 15. Divide by 3. And that means k equals 5. And that is it. That is k.